These daughters announced they're skipping college and launching a hoodie line. Listen, I'm not gonna lie, that would be adorable if the streets weren't saying that this is nothing but a front, because Diddy knows that everything he knows and loves is about to be caught up in federal forfeit. So, what do? You trot your youngest, well, not youngest, baby love is like, what about me? You trot some of your cute daughters out there in order to create an asset shield, because you know the federal government is about to come for everything you owe them. Yeah, that's right. See, here's the thing. Diddy's people may have forgotten that Diddy was convicted on 2 federal crimes of the Mann Act. And that means because he was using Shan Cole's Global and Bad Boys Global to pay for it, the baby. They're about to snatch all his assets. So he tried out his cute daughters in order to create a new legacy with his money. But the problem is, it's not gonna work, y'all. Let's get into it. Baby, the feds are coming. Let's not get distracted by those hoodies and these soft launches. Because while the twins were out here modeling zip-ups on Instagram, their daddy is modeling federal convictions. Let's talk about what those convictions really mean. Diddy has now been hit not once, but twice under the Mann Act. That's the federal law used to prosecute smacks trafficking across state lines, originally created in the 1900s, to stop what they used to call white slavery. Yes, it was old. Yes, it has very sick, racist roots, but it is very much still alive in a new way. And prosecutors love to use it when the stakes are high and the headlines are harder. And Diddy just became Exhibit A. Maybe 2 federal convictions tied to the Mann Act. And listen, in federal court, sure, but in civil court, you might be able to skip past this. But in federal court, make no mistake, federal court, federal law, federal consequences. And here's where things are getting spicy. Once you're convicted under a federal statute, especially one related to smacks trafficking or coercion, it opens the door for forfeit laws, which are basically the government's way of saying you used your money, your
and no longer
businesses,
has a
and
voice
assets
who will
to commit
pursue
crimes.
justice for her accusation.
That was key. We'll be taking all of it
As
now.
of the taken
Thank
against
you.
Diddy.
Now, baby,
No
let's
expansion
run
of the
checklist.
investigation.
He used private
No
jets
isolation
to
orders.
fly escorts
No
across
equipment
state lines.
access.
He paid women
No
off
suspension
using
of
company
attorney
accounts.
communication.
He booked hotel rooms through corporate travel. He sent hush money through payroll. You use your record label, your fashion brand, and vodka company to cover it up. Bingo. That's called business-backed criminal activity. And under federal law, if your LLC, trust, and all those kids got trust or brand was used to facilitate a crime, even indirectly, the feds can freeze, seize, and liquidate those assets. We're talking Cole's Global, Sean John, Love Records, even his real estate vehicles and accounts connected to that money flow. This isn't just a PR crisis, you guys, it's a forensic accounting nightmare. So if you're wondering why the hoodie line is coming down just as everything is starting to fall apart, it's because Daddy knows that dam is cracking, and he's got about 5 minutes left to reroute the money somewhere the feds won't work. Now let's talk about that forfeit, because right now in Cole's Global is a crime scene. Not bankruptcy, not brand collapse, but forfeiture. That sexy little government tool where the feds don't sue you, they just take everything you have. Because if the Mann Act convictions stick, and it looks like they will, and if prosecutors can trace the criminal behavior back to business assets, the feds don't need to prove anything criminal beyond what's already been admitted. They just have to say, Your Honor, this company was used to commit cover-up or fund criminal activity. And boom, that business, that property, that hoodie line, it's all up for grabs. Okay, let's break down how it works really quick. Under Title 18 of the US Code, the government can seize any assets, physical or financial, that was used in the commission of a federal crime. Star Island and his LA residence was used to transport and under the Mann Act. On top of that, I believe the private plane and, those paperbacks full of money used in the commission of a federal crime purchase with proceeds on the crime. We all know that Diddy was paid for that busy, that pun, not the kitty cat, but the woody cat, or used to facilitate a crime, even if indirectly. This includes, and we saw this in testimony, bank accounts, shell companies, real estate, intellectual property, yes, even your brand name, clothing inventory, revenue-generating products like merch, music catalogs, or licensed trademarks. So if Diddy was using Cole's Global, Bad Boy Entertainment, or Shad John funds, again, to book those private flights, pay hush money, funnel NDA settlements through corporate remember what he paid, or even compensate staffers who helped facilitate the behavior. We all know everybody was on payroll. That's more than just bad octave, y'all. That's called criminal asset entangling. Now, what are the odds of forfeit? Y'all, let's be real. This isn't a maybe. This is a when and how much situation. Because even though the Mann Act convictions came from, well, I guess a few civil lawsuits, they were decided under federal law. And those two rulings, which explicitly state that he engaged in forced interstate smule activity, are a legal jackpot for any federal investigation currently lurking in the shadows. You think the DOJ didn't notice? You think the IRS, the same people that locked up Al Capone, didn't clock the fact that Diddy had no salary listed for years while living like a sultan? You think the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office, the same one that took down Epstein, Justine and Sam Bankman-Fried, is going to leave this alone? No, baby. They're watching, they're calculating, and they're tracing assets right now. And don't forget, under forfeit law, you don't have to be charged with a crime to lose everything. Again, you just need to be linked between the property, a link between the property and the underlying offense. So what does this mean? If didn't use his business to fund crime, and I think it's been proven he has, and he's already been found liable for that crime, then the business itself is now a crime scene. And if that hoodie line that the twins are trying to launch, it's time to comb money, contracts, and infrastructure, that hoodie drop could become evidence, not revenue. Now, baby, keep in mind with the twins, they're not just models, they are the front line. So let's talk about Diddy's beautiful, talented, unproratic twin daughters, Delilah and Jessie. They just launched a hoodie line and skipped college to become entrepreneurs. And if you take it at face value, it sounds sweet. Two young black girls following in their daddy's fashion footsteps. But y'all, we don't do face value over here. We do receipts, reputation rehab, and legal redirection. Because this isn't a coming-of-age story. This is crisis management with a family discount. Y'all be serious. Okay, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Diddy can't front a fashion brand right now. He's got 2 federal convictions under the Mann Act, multiple lawsuits alleging rape, abuse, and trafficking, and a public image that's radioactive. Even Balenciaga won't touch it. And that's saying a lot. And a growing federal shadow investigating how deep this all goes. So what's a Moga to do when he can't be the face of his own
and
empire
no longer
anymore?
has a voice
He grabs
who will
the
pursue
nearest
justice for her
fresh-faced
accusation.
ready, legally untainted
As of the
relatives,
taken against
and then
Diddy,
he hides behind
no
them.
expansion
You guys,
of the
this
investigation,
is image laundering with a
no
family-friendly
isolation
filter.
orders,
Because honestly,
no equipment
I think
access,
even Diddy's
no
staunchest
suspension of
supporters
attorney
will admit the
communication.
twins have zero scandals. They have that sympathy armor well-deserved of losing their mother, Kim Porter. They've been relatively quiet in the press. They're just too all Diddy's daughters seem very nice and sweet, and the public still sees them as they should, as innocent girls, not corporate players. So Diddy is using that image, that untouchable innocence, as a human shield for his next act. Think about this. Diddy can't sell Shah Jahan anymore, but the twins can sell legacy. Diddy can't go on a press tour, but the twins can do brand deals. Team Vogue, and even TikTok. And Diddy can't launch a reband, but the twins are the rebrand. But who's really running the show? Here's the thing. You can give the girls the Instagram handle. You can give them a photo shoot. You can give them the LLC. But unless they're signing the licensing deals, negotiating manufacturing contracts, and booking vendor appointments with their own independent capital, baby, this is still Diddy's business. What you're looking at is a proxy empire. I believe a new face on the same criminal infrastructure. He's not retiring, he's just repackaging. And the reason is simple. Diddy knows the feds are watching everything he touches. So now he's funneling attention, and maybe even assets, through the only people in his circle who aren't currently radioactive. It's not about empowering his daughters. It's about disempowering federal investigators from tracing the money. Because if the twins launch a line, and it's technically independent, the public doesn't ask questions. But ask yourself, who owns the warehouse? Who's running the back-end website? Who's writing the checks? Follow logistics. And I hope to God you don't find a link back to Diddy again. Diddy's not stepping down. I firmly believe he's stepping behind, because the clones global gets seized. If Shah Jahan gets frozen, and if Diddy's name becomes too toxic for fashion, he can still own the game, as long as someone else's face is on the scoreboard. And who better than the daughters America still roots for? Baby, Diddy is diabolical. Diabolical. Okay, but listen, what do y'all think? Again, we're not gonna sit here and pretend this is some cute coming-of-age story. Okay, even some people are calling this Kylie Cosmetics. No, this is Napo, baby, laundromat fashion edition. And yes, the twins are beautiful. They're charismatic, they got millions of followers and tons of goodwill. But let's be real, Diddy isn't launching this to secure their future. He's using their innocence to secure. So again, here's what I think is happening. The feds are going through his books right now. They're tracing company credit cards, expenses, jet logs, and hotel receipts. If those business accounts funded prostitution, coercion, or NDAs, that's asset forfeit on site. Okay, on site. You know I know it. Diddy knows it. Maybe Diddy didn't get away scot-free. We'll see what he does with this asset forfeiture. But it seems like them boys are blue, are coming. And when you combine that with the way that he now is letting his kids take the lead, let's also not forget what's his name, Christian doing that song with Kanye, even though now that he's out, we'll talk about that in another video. But what do y'all think? Let me know in the comments. But I really do think there is something to it. And I do have to say, Diddy, you don't have us fooled one time. Anyway, y'all, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later.